We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
And hello again. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Tim Seaman. One person is in police custody and another reportedly in the hospital following an afternoon shooting incident on the city's near north side. Details tonight in our top story at 10 o'clock. Numerous officers and investigators combing not one but two crime scenes late this afternoon after a 911 call for an injured party. Police were called to 1600 Jackson Street where they located a man suffering from a gunshot wound. He was transported to a local hospital, but tonight there is no word on his condition. Shortly after that, a suspect vehicle was located and authorities began a pursuit. Sioux City Police Chief Rex Mueller saying that cooperation between law enforcement agencies ended up leading to the arrest of one person.
At one point we were given the description of a vehicle. We gave that out to other law enforcement agencies, and not long after, about a half hour after, North Sioux City began a pursuit with a motor vehicle that matched the description of the suspect vehicle. That vehicle crashed at Military and Rebecca.
Mueller told us that one person is in custody. Police have not identified that person taken from the suspect vehicle, nor have they announced charges on that person. The condition of the shooting victim still is not known tonight either. Police tell us that the investigation is ongoing. An Iowa House subcommittee has advanced a measure that would require local law enforcement to take part in immigration programs. The House told the House Study Bill 187 would require every law enforcement agency in Iowa to enter into a written agreement with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Department. They would participate in immigration programs starting no later than the beginning of 2026. That measure would enable local authorities to perform as immigration officers within their jurisdictions after training is complete.
Unfunded mandates are stressful and will cause even more harm to the community relationship between our Latinos and our law enforcement.
So there is a huge difference between legal and illegal immigration, which so many groups today seek to erase that difference. This legislation is of a critical importance to ensure that the rule of law is restored and our communities are made safe.
That legislation now heads to the Iowa House Judiciary Committee for consideration there. Tomorrow, the South Dakota House of Representatives is expected to hear a message on a measure to fund a building of a new state men's prison in Lincoln County. The legislature's Joint Committee on Appropriations unanimously voted yes to advancing House Bill 1025 to the House floor without a recommendation. That bill would authorize the construction of that new prison, transfer from the state incarceration fund the final funding of $763 million for that project. The measure needs a 2/3 majority in each chamber before going to the governor's desk for a signature. Well, we're getting our first look at what a reconstructed Gordon Drive viaduct could someday look like. The Iowa Department of Transportation rolling out an animated design during a public hearing just today. That animation shows two new bridges, approximately 10 feet south of the current viaduct, with 12-foot wide lanes and a 14-foot pedestrian accommodation, as well as a reconstruction of Lewis Boulevard and the interchange there. The project also replaced the Bacon Creek conduit between Gordon Drive and Correctionville Road, also between Lewis Boulevard and Ruston Streets. Thursday's hearing provided the public with an opportunity to share thoughts on the proposed replacement project, slated to begin in 2027. Now, the viaduct was first built in 1936 and expanded from 2 lanes to 4 in 1965. Today, the expanse again has just 1 lane of traffic running both east and west. 2 lanes were closed last year after structural deficiencies were found in that structure. A public hearing also held for a constitutional amendment that would change the deadline to file initiative petitions for elections in Nebraska. The unicameral's Government, Military, and Veterans Affairs Committee hearing arguments on that measure, which would move the deadline for submitting the petition signatures from 4 months before the general election to 16 months. Now, the amendment would still give people and organizations 2 years to collect enough signatures. The Nebraska Deputy Secretary of State says election officials were pushed to the limit in 2024's general election.
Not only did we have one referendum, 2 initiative constitutional amendments, 3 initiatives, we had 4 candidate petitions as well in regards to for President of the United States and U.S. Senate.
If you're going to put something on the ballot and you're collecting signatures, it's difficult as a practical matter to sort of get citizen interest in something that's a year or 2 down the road. You're going to have other sort of political things come up in between the time of signature collection and the time when the voter is going to be voting on the issue.
The committee now has to decide whether or not to advance that amendment to the full legislature. 2 bills in the Nebraska unicameral that would end setting our clocks back and forth an hour passed the first round of debate. LB 34 passed 29-13 with 2 not voting. That measure would put daylight savings time in place year-round in the state. LB 302 passed 28-9 with 7 not voting. That piece of legislation would put standard time all year long in Nebraska. State lawmakers discussed those bills earlier this afternoon before the first round of voting took place.
You can go to your kids' games, you can go play golf, you can go to restaurants and shops, and it's a better thing for the economy. It's a better thing for things like seasonal depression and just kind of the winter blues that you get when you don't have any sunlight.
Of course, everybody has to go to work in the dark when it's a lot colder in the winter time. People quickly lose interest in permanent daylight savings time.
Both bills now move on to the second round of debate. An update tonight on the Lewis and Clark Regional Water System project. Work is now being done to the interior process piping and control at the pump station there in Larchwood, Iowa, which is scheduled to be complete by the middle of April. The first expansion of its reserves capacity of 44.19 million gallons of water a day bumps up to 60 million gallons, and that's set to be finished in late 2030. A broad overview study of a possible second expansion is expected to be done sometime in March. Phase 3 of the water treatment plant has a substantial completion deadline of October of 2027, with a final completion date not set until April of 2028. Well, multiple school districts in Siouxland will be having 2-hour late starts tomorrow, but they will be back in class. That includes Lawton Bronson and South Sioux City school districts. We have a list of those closings and delays on our website right now. You can find it all at SiouxlandProud.com as well as on the KCAU-9 News app. Well, after this past week of freezing temperatures, many Siouxlanders probably had a chance to check out the work of their vehicle, if it's working, that is, and if the battery is still good. KCAU-9 reporter Tyler Euchner today checking in with the towing company to find out just how hectic this week has been.
Thanks, Tim. I spoke with a towing company and a business today who tell me it's been a busy week.
Call volume has been pretty high. February 17th through February 20th, 160 jump starts and 350 tows in that 3-day span.
While Stockton Towing is able to get most people's vehicles back up and running, others aren't so lucky. With folks needing to replace their battery.
If they don't work, we do offer batteries to sell through Interstate Batteries. We have batteries here on stock. We can offer those. If that's not an option for them, we will offer our tow service and we can get it towed to wherever they would like it to be.
One busy business this week was Baumgars, with employees working hard to keep the batteries stocked.
We've been selling batteries left and right. I mean, everybody's coming in here to get a new battery or check the charger in their battery. It's been so cold, those batteries aren't keeping up with the cold. Because it's so hectic, we've been getting a lot of batteries in on the truck, so we're just keeping the shelves full, trying to keep the customers happy.
Stockton Towing recommends folks get their batteries checked every year due to their 3 to 5 year lifespan. In Sioux City, Tyler Euchner, KCAU 9 News.
Yeah, it's that time of the year when it gets this cold, sometimes the battery just doesn't want to work.
I was about to say, I just replaced my battery and I was having some issues despite the fact that it was a new battery. But either way, we'll be seeing that conditions will be a little bit better, so maybe you don't have to stress about your battery, as we'll be seeing that conditions will be still quiet out across from the Ho Chunk Center. And thankfully, we've just had a warmer evening overall with temperatures currently reported. Still right around 0 degrees. That's an improvement compared to yesterday. At 2 below, though, and we'll see that with calm winds, actually wind chills are not dropping down to the teens below. Sadly, not all of Siouxland is lucky, as we see calm breezes with humidity at 65%, with temps in central and eastern portions of the viewing area falling below 0 degrees, as well as out to our west. You'll see Wayne at 6 below, Bloomfield at 4 below, though Yankton is still positive at 1, matching Orange City, 3 in Storm Lake, but 2 below just a few miles to the south and southwest, with Ida Grove also reporting at 2 below. Breezes are under 5 miles per hour for much of central Siouxland, but you'll see out to our north and east. Those breezes just a little bit stronger, meaning wind chills are going to be taken ahead as wind gusts are under 10 miles per hour for most of us, as wind chills are either in the single digits below 0, the teens below 0, or the 20s below. 22 below in Bloomfield, 16 below in Spencer, 10 below in Storm Lake, and 20 below to our north in Sheldon. Traveling to our south, you'll see a big difference in temperatures for feels like 16 below in Tequema, but Omaha at 4 below, while Wayne, a few miles to the northwest, is at 15 below. As the wind chill forecast tonight drops this down into the teens and 20s, pretty much all across the region. Winds are going to start to pick up a little bit, and you'll see that they increase for tomorrow as well. So despite the fact that temperatures rise to the teens and 20s tomorrow, we'll still be feeling like the single digits in some lucky spots, feel like the teens out to our north, as we see the conditions are going to be cool through the evening hours again, feeling like below 0 for the start of the day on Saturday. But then we'll see temperatures rise again as the looping radar here shows clear skies out across the viewing area. We've seen that across the plains, either northern or central, though a few thin clouds are beginning to recede as conditions look to be clear going forward here into the morning hours of Friday and then into the afternoon. As we head towards the evening, a few batches of clouds try to appear, but expect conditions to remain clear overall in the region with a few thin upper level clouds, as conditions then will continue to still be clear as a few more clouds begin to appear for Saturday evening. Temperatures tonight going to be dropping below 0, something we've already had. So we'll be in the high single digits, maybe some right around 10 degrees for below zeros, and feeling cooler as we see south winds between 5 to 10 miles per hour. Temperatures then will be on the rise as we see cold weather alerts across the region. So there are some cold weather advisories, but much like yesterday, just for some reason they're not showing up at this time. They'll be in effect, you'll see, until 9 in the morning for Woodbury County and for much of central and southern portions of Siouxland, as temperatures tomorrow are going to be on the rise, gaining 10 degrees again to the 20s, but feeling cool thanks to gusts up to 30 miles per hour with sustained winds up to 15 from the south-southwest. Temperatures are going to continue to rise through the weekend, gaining about 10 degrees each day. We go from 20s to 30s, and you'll notice overnight lows no longer under 0 as we gain another 10 for 40s on Sunday and another 10 for 50s on Monday. Then temperatures do level out a little bit. We'll see that 50s are forecasted in the region for Monday and Tuesday. We keep an eye on some clouds and showers on Wednesday, and then we'll see that we're teeter-tottering again between 40s and 50s, but that's a much better teeter-totter to be on, Tim, than the teeter-totter between single digits below zeros and 30s for feels like below 0.